And the goal is to really educate the membership about each of the candidates. So it's a two-way street here, and it's a good opportunity for everybody to become much more familiar. What I would like to do is also just take a brief moment and talk about the service. There's some aspects here. The service, one of our duties as PGA professionals is to serve the game, to serve our golfers, to serve our clubs, and most importantly, or not most importantly, but certainly important, to serve our fellow professionals. And that's really what our candidates are doing today, and our current board members are doing as well. The other thing is the commitment. Commitment to this is very important. It's important that we have an active board, and if we have an active board, the membership is going to be much more well served as a result. So I know that Lynn has worked hard on making sure that that happens. Our questionnaire asked that specifically, so it's important that when you do choose to run for the board, that you are an active participant on that board. The other thing, and the last thing I'll talk about here, is really working with our section staff. It's really the responsibility of the board of directors to set policy and to lay the guidelines for the staff to operate. And once those guidelines and directions are sent, it's handed over to the board of directors. And then it's very important to work constructively with the staff so that the members can benefit to the maximum extent possible. So I know that's something that's happening, and I just want to make sure that everyone understands we want that to continue going forward so that we can continue to be a leading section within the PGA. Would like to, Len, would you like to introduce the candidates, or would you like me to do that?
Why don't you go ahead, Gary, and then I'll just talk a little bit about process and
Okay.
Off we go.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to introduce our candidates, and I'll start in alphabetical order and with our incumbents first, because they've been serving at this point. Devin Maheen is an incumbent, and Devin, thank you again for throwing your hat into the ring. Devin is currently a director on the Youth on Course, NCPGA Youth on Course program, which is an outstanding program. And if you're not familiar with that, I encourage all of you to get familiar with it, because they're doing an outstanding job. And Devin, we thank you for all your efforts in that behalf. Andrew Workman, Andrew, again, thank you for serving. And Andrew is currently director with the Northern Nevada Golf Association, and has served on the board, is currently serving on the board, and has thrown his hat in the ring to run again. John Herman. John is the, I believe, the director of golf. Correct me if I'm wrong, John, but at Montreux Golf Club, a beautiful golf club up in the Sierras. And,
so cute. The baby's so cute.
It is cooling down up there, I'm sure.
Yeah, and head professional, not director of golf.
I'm sorry.
Director
Okay.
of golf. Well, thanks, Gary.
Well, it's you're doing a great job from everything I'm hearing.
You got a promotion, John.
Yeah. John Hermans, excuse me, Joe Smith. Joe is currently the head professional at Swenson Park Golf Course, a very active facility over there in the Central Valley. And along with that, he's been very active within the San Joaquin chapter. And John, I'd like to congratulate you on the award you just received, the NCPGA Junior League Game Changer Award for junior golf. That's a very nice award, and we compliment you for serving the youth of the game, because that really is the future.
Thank you, Gary. I got a demotion. John got a promotion. I'm actually the general manager.
You're the general manager. Okay, well, condolences
okay.
in that regard. Well, I apologize for not having that right, but I stand corrected. Willie Tony Jr., I had a nice conversation with Willie earlier, and Willie, we thank you for throwing your hat in the ring. You're very busy over at the Olympic Club. We know that for a fact. And Willie has been involved in the game of golf for many years. And I want to say, Willie, are you the owner of Olympic Club, or is that?
No, I'm not the owner.
I
I feel like I've been there long enough to be a part owner.
Well, it's a wonderful club, and we were just chatting earlier, and Willie was saying they had 1,000 rounds this last weekend on the 2 golf courses, and anybody that's been in this business for any length of time can tell you that's a lot of rounds in 2 days.
A lot of rounds.
Next is Jason Walter, and Jason is Director of Golf, General Manager.
Director of Golf.
Okay, at the Diablo Country Club, a wonderful club in East Bay over there, and definitely an old established club, and we're happy to have him throwing his hat in the ring as well. And I want to thank each of you again for choosing to run for the board. I think we have an excellent slate this year, and Len, I'll turn it over to you at this point.
Okay, thank you, Gary. And as we constantly add, our capabilities here in the section office, obviously we've added employment information this morning. And so some of you found out about positions you didn't know you had, but we move on from that. So all good. Again, thank you all for being here with us and everybody that's online. What we're going to do is we're going to start with opening comments from each of our candidates. After the opening comments, we have 3 questions. 2 for each, and time allowing, we'll get to all 3, and then we'll have closing comments from our candidates as well, and then a general wrap. So with that in mind, again, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present, to start in our first opening comments, the head golf professional, Montreux Golf and Country Club, Mr. John Hermans. And if everyone would mute their mics, that would be great too. John, thank you so much. Yeah.
Len, thank you, and Gary, thank you. Just take this time to tell everybody a little bit about myself. So, as you said, I'm the head professional at Montreux. Just finishing my 9th season there, which is crazy to think already. So just finishing the 9th season. Actually started as an intern at Montreux back in 2010. Finished out my schooling, worked my way up from assistant professional up to head professional, now working for Zach Jonas as our director of golf right now. But it's been great in my time there. Did go to Fair State's professional golf management program. So graduated from there in 2012, December of 2012, became a PGA member shortly thereafter, March of 2013. When I was at Fair State, I did do 3 internships. One was at the Ivanhoe Club in the Chicago area. Then, as I mentioned, second internship was at Montreux in 2010. And then the last internship was at Whisper Rock Golf Club in Scottsdale, Arizona. Got certified in general management through the PGA Certified Professional Program in 2016. And last but not least, I'm currently in my 2nd term on the Sierra Nevada chapter board as well. So appreciate the chance to have a chance to run for the section board.
Thank you, John. Next, we'll have opening comments from the Director of Programs for Youth on Course, Devin Maheen, who's also currently on the Board of Directors. Devin?
Great. Thank you, Len. Thank you, Gary. And I'd like to first start by thanking the nominating committee for coming up with this creative forum to give us all a chance to speak. I just think it's wonderful. So thank you for creating this. It's been an honor for me the last 2 years to serve on the NCPGA board. I truly appreciate everybody's support and trust in me. It's funny, as I was jotting down some notes last night of what I wanted to say to everybody, I started going through things, and then I kind of, like in COVID times, kind of threw everything out the window because it all related to time. Everything I want to say today is really related around time. Like many of us, I want to give back. I was elected to membership in 1996, and the association has done so much for me and countless others throughout the years. And I just couldn't thank the whole association and the NCPGA enough for everything it's done for me. And it's my time to give back. And, you know, with that, I also want to be a part of the solutions. As time changes, again, on the time theme, time changes, policies need to be updated. You know, programs need to be updated, initiations, and I want to be a part of the solutions to all that. So again, time is a big factor for me in all of this. You know, and I'm extremely fortunate, speaking of time, to work for Youth on Course and the nonprofit, because we align so similarly with the NCPGA and the goals, which allows me the time that I believe is needed for the work that needs to be done to create solutions and look at the different policies and procedures that might need to be updated or not. So, again, time is a funny thing. It seems like yesterday, 2 years ago, when I was in my first board meeting in the end of 2018, beginning of 2019, and President Dee Dee Moriarty, she encouraged us and told us to get involved and participate and learn and listen from the collective wisdom of the board members. And I took that to heart. I thought it was wonderful. I've been acting on it ever since. I spent most of 2019 joining committees, getting involved, learning and listening, planning for the future. And then, of course, 2020 hit, and we had to kind of throw those away because I was really excited about some of the initiatives. And now we spent 2020 re-looking at those and how to modify and adapt. So I'm hoping for more time. I really, truly appreciate my time that I've had. And I love serving on the board and serving everybody, all 1,100 of our members and our section. It's a wonderful thing. And that's really about all I have. I love my commitment to the NCPGA, and I look forward to serving us again and launching some exciting new programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Devin. And now our general manager of Swenson Park Golf Club, Joe Smith. Joe?
Thank you, Lynn, very much. Gary, thank you very much. The entire committee, thank you very much. And our entire membership in the NCPGA, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you and be part of this. My history in the golf business is I started in the golf business in 1999 at a little family-owned golf course, as just like a lot of us did, is kid picking the range, just looking for a way to hit free golf balls and looking for a way to get on the golf course more. And then grew to love the business. I already loved the game, arguably as much as anybody on this planet, and grew to love this business. So I was fortunate to work under a lot of good golf professionals, including Dave Ring, Sue Fisco, Tom Nelson, and some others who really have inspired me to get more involved with not just growing the game of golf, but growing our membership and growing things that we can do to encourage more and more people to be part of this wonderful business and game. I got out of the business for a few years. In 2006, I was a police officer here in Stockton, California for 3 years. Learned a lot about myself and what I wanted to do in life. So when the economy kind of took a dump in 2008 and everything went south for our police department, I decided that that wasn't where I was going to finish my career as a vocation, and I wanted to get back into golf because golf is truly my vocation. I am very much an outside the box idea, think of ways to get people involved and get people in their strengths. I like collaborative, coming together, sharing best practices, and taking ideas and growing them to see how they can fit each of us, because all of our properties are different. All of our properties should be run different, in my opinion. There isn't one cookie cutter way to do this golf business. And I would love to share best practices, and maybe something that we've done here at Swenson with the junior program, with Folds of Honor, with other programs that we do have that help grow the game of golf and introduce it to a new group and make it fun and make it enjoyable. Hopefully we can take stuff like that and bring it to more and more courses and see how it may fit their properties. And I would love to sit down and talk to, I mean, almost every golf professional in our business and decide what we can do to help them. And I'm very much honored to be part of the help that going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Next up, Willie Tony Jr., assistant golf professional at the Olympic Club. Willie, thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Lynn, and the rest of the board and the rest of the section. I've been in the section now. I think I started in the section probably 1995 as an apprentice at Mather Golf Course. With regards to my journey through this section, I became a PGA member in 2001. And I think I was in the last class of the formerly known Golf Professional training program, which is now PGA University. So I've been in the section a long time. I've experienced a lot of things along the way. I felt like in my, almost 30 years in the section that I've pretty much been a guy that kind of sat back and kind of taken it all in. But this year, I think in light of, everything that's going on, including the pandemic, the social injustice, I'm a rare breed in this section. I'm a rare breed in our association. So I felt like it was time for me to get involved and give you guys a little bit of perspective in our section, in our association, some perspective on moving forward, the initiatives that I feel like we need to take on and get real adamant about. Like I said, I love the game of golf, just like Joe Smith said. I'm as passionate about it as anybody. From the time I hit a golf ball for the first time, which would have been at 10 years old, I'm 54 now. This is all I've ever thought about doing. I got a degree in criminal justice, was going to work in law enforcement, but just one trip to Folsom Prison with my older sister that was a correctional officer curbed that very quickly. So, it also gave me a perspective on, I know better than to do anything that would land me in Folsom. So I figured golf would be the direction I'd go. But where we are now, I just felt like it was my time to get involved. I was approached by Dee Dee Moriarty, our president, and said, I want you to advocate for a perspective that we haven't seen. So that's why I'm involved, and appreciate the opportunity to serve the board if given the opportunity.
Great. Thank you, Willie. And now our director of golf at Diablo Country Club, Jason Walter. Jason?
Thank you, Len. Appreciate it, Gary. And thank you for everybody on the call to volunteer time to listen to us and to get to know us a little better. The bio that I sent out, or that was sent out in the email, speaks to the importance of volunteering, as I believe volunteering is the lifeblood of certainly nonprofit organizations. And it's all about ensuring we leave it better for our future generations than we found it. And really, that's why I'm here today. I want to offer my time and my situational experience that I've been afforded in my career. Professionally and personally, I'm 100% committed to running for the board. I have the time, and like Willie and Devin and everybody else, it's time to give back. I have a large family. I have 4 kids and an active, busy club. So for me to have the time, and I want to make sure I can be there so that I'm an active participant. So I'm here 100% wanting to give back to the association. And I've learned what it means being at the private club at Diablo for the last 11 years, how important it is that we are active and that we are engaging our people in our profession. So for those of you who do not know me, I became a member in the PGA in 1997. I started my apprenticeship in 1991 when I was playing golf for Colorado State University. After my second year, I declared myself a professional so I could go give lessons and I could teach at the 9-hole public facility I'd worked at for 10 years, starting my career. And I've been active in the Southwest Section PGA, the Aloha Section PGA, the Colorado PGA, and now the Northern California section for the past 11 years as being at Diablo. And I served on the board of directors in the Aloha Section PGA in 2004 and 2005. So I have a little bit of experience in what we're trying to do. And essentially my career has afforded me working 10 years in the public sector, working for a municipal organization, a 9-hole golf course in Fort Collins, Colorado. That's where I grew up. I started playing golf there when I was 5. It was my life, and it really seeded me, and it seeded at a young age that I wanted to be a PGA golf professional, and this is what I wanted to do with my career. And once I left Colorado, I found myself working for a private developer, a land developer. We had 8 properties across the country in Europe and in Hawaii. And I learned situational experience in that role, but I also learned what it meant to be a part of that type of management style coming from the municipality. And my goal when I came to Diablo, leaving that developer life, was to work for a member equity, member-owned firm. So essentially, I've had 3 operating models that I've really had a lot of time with, that I've learned the golf business and the club business. And I, again, hope that situational experience and my commitment for this role will be perfect for me and this role. So I appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. And now, newly promoted. As a matter of fact, I think within the past 48 hours, Andrew helped me out as the congratulations on becoming the executive director for the Northern Nevada Golf Association.
It's been I think 72. It was Sunday, right around 10 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Our executive director stepped down, Steve, and I took over his position. It's been kind of a crazy year for me. Because it started at the beginning of the year. I got let go from my job and didn't know what I was going to do. I'm in the same situation that a lot of professionals were in. It just so happened that I got lucky enough to reach out to a fellow PGA professional, Steve Rydell, who was the executive director of the NNGA. And he said, "Oh, are you calling about the position?" I said, "I don't know about any position. I'm just calling about any position right now." And ended up, he was planning on retiring at the end of this year. He talked to me about it and said, I'll bring you on. You'll be the assistant executive director for right now. And then at the end of the year, if everything goes great, you can take over as executive director. I said, that's great. So it ended up working out well, and just got executive director for NNGA, and really looking forward to the road ahead. When it comes down to it, I joined the board a couple of years ago because I really enjoy the challenge of trying to make things better. Trying to every single chance we get. I never want to be the best, because I think that puts you in a corner. I want to just constantly improve. When it comes down to it, my previous job with Hole in One USA, I was very lucky to be able to travel around to a lot of different sections and see what they do and talk to people and start conversations about, hey, what do you think works for this? What do you think works for that? What do you guys think about this? And starting those conversations and just talking to people, learning from what they've done, what their mistakes are, what their successes are, really helps to bring it back to see if we can apply it to our section. I had the chance to work with a national PGA teacher of the year, and he said a good instructor is a good thief. You're able to take things that other people do and make them your own. And I've always believed that philosophy. I'm going to steal a little bit from Willie Tony. He may not remember, about 10 years ago, we were doing the Teachers Teaching Teachers at Olympic Club. And Willie told the story about when he was 10 years old and he hit his first golf ball, and it was a great shot. But that's not what got him into golf. What got him into golf was the next shot and how horrible it was. And it's like, hey, why can't I do that every time? Why can't I hit that perfect shot? It's a challenge that keeps us coming back. If you challenge yourself to constantly improve, you're always challenging yourself, and you're always thinking, how can we get better today? How can we be better, not better than another section, not better than another association, better than we were yesterday? That always gets us moving forward and always gets us moving in the right direction. That's what I want to see for our section and for our association, is to constantly try to make ourselves better. And I just want to be a part of that conversation. I want to work with all of the 1,100 professionals in the area. I just made our section a lot bigger, to make our section better and to continue the conversation. I really enjoyed what we did earlier this year when we divvied up the section amongst all the board members and called them and said, hey, how are you doing in this epidemic? And that was great. I think we should do that more often, not just during a pandemic, but every year. Call people up and say, hey, how's it going? Continue that conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you all so much for exhibiting your passion and commitment to not only the game, but also to the Northern California PGA. So I'll now turn it over to President Plato for the first question. Gary?
Thank you, Len. And thank you all for those opening statements. That is very helpful. We have 3 questions that we are going to pose today, and you've all had a chance to take a look at them. And the first question is, it's very important that our association plan ahead in the years, or plan ahead and plan properly for the years ahead. I'd like to ask each of you, beginning with Devin. We're going to go Devin first, and then we're going to go Andrew. You're going to be second. And we'll take our two incumbents, and then we're going to go alphabetically from there. It would be John, Joe, Willie, and Jason to follow. But the first question is, what would you do now to ensure that the PGA will be better off tomorrow than it is today? And I'd ask you to please be specific.
Great. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate it. Well, to ensure that the PGA will be better tomorrow than it is today, I really believe that we need to embrace change. Change is always easy to talk about, but much more difficult to implement, as human nature will resist things out of the ordinary. But if the future is of the utmost importance, we always need to be looking to break the mold there. With that, I've been fortunate to be the board liaison of the NCPGA Diversity and Inclusion Committee. And frankly, we're just beginning to open our industry to all to ensure the future success. During one of the committee meetings, we actually had a chance to speak with Sandy Cross from PGA National. And the largest takeaway I got from that was the focus on inclusion. You know, diversity, it's funny, diversity comes in front of that, but inclusion, and the takeaway was this, our industry needs to continue to remove barriers to ensure that everyone feels welcome and enjoys the sport. And if we can embrace the inclusion, then the diversity is just simply a byproduct. So that was my big takeaway from her, and it really hit home with me. And I really believe that's how we can change and prepare for the future, because it's starting to become a cliche almost, that we need to, the golf industry as a whole needs to look like America. And you hear that over and over again, but what are we going to do? So I really enjoy my time on the committee, you know, to inspire change and to do things about it. And to get a little more specific, as asked of us, one of the things that we've been working on is a new program that we're hoping to launch this year. We're going to modify it and launch it in early 2021. And with the hopes to inspire change, and working with local community organizations such as the Boys and Girls Club, just to name one, and identify and encourage interested youth who have limited or no exposure to golf. And this program will be youth-led. The idea is to incentivize current junior golfers to act as ambassadors of the game, with the focus of introducing new juniors and welcoming them fun, easy, from a short distance, you know, round of golf, just for 9 holes. Get them exposed to the game, get them out there, and get them to smile. Because if we get them hooked, they'll keep on coming back. And I sense a theme here. Without too much detail in all the settings, basically the goal of the program is after 5 9-hole rounds, that now new golfer will have options and opportunities presented, such as connections with local golf professionals for instruction, equipment options, options to affordable access to play golf while they continue to enjoy the game. So my inspiration is to create wins for everybody, the golf professional, the industry, and for all the soon-to-be new golfers, so that we can create success for the future and beyond. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Devin. Andrew, you're next, please.
Like I said in my introduction, you know, keeping the conversation going, keeping on trying to be better than what we were yesterday. We did a lot of planning leading up to the 2020 PGA Championship, and that all went to the wayside once we got this COVID-19 coming in. It ended up being a successful tournament, but not as successful as we wanted to make it, as a kind of a showcase for the Northern California section. Fortunately, we have an opportunity in a couple of years to come out to Olympic Club for the PGA Championship in 2028, and hopefully we can plan ahead and start now to try and see what we can do to really showcase our section and our section professionals for that time, making that a really good showcase for what we got to do. Other than that, just like Devin said, getting more people into the game of golf to keep the PGA growing, for the game of golf growing, and making the PGA being a part of that. I know John Hermans does a lot with PGA Junior League, which is great. We got to really commend people with that. Joe also just won that award. Joe's wearing his PGA Hope shirt as well, which is a great program. We just finished our first program here in the Sierra Nevada area out at Sierra Sage. We had, I think, 16 veterans come out, and it was just great. I ended up on Monday of this week seeing one of the veterans out playing in a shotgun out at Toyabe Golf Club, and I went up and said, "Hey, Alan, great seeing you out here." So it's just great to get those people into the game and make sure they continue to enjoy the game. I love what they're doing right now in some of the states with PGA Family Cup. I spoke to one of the candidates for Secretary, Don Ray, about it, and he said that the only thing that's holding it back from being in every state right now is it's a different license from PGA Junior League. But once that license hits in California and Nevada, we hope to see that hit as well. The PGA Family Cup, getting more families into the game, making it more about coming out, having fun, a family experience, because that's really what America is starting to get into, is more stuff we can do with the family instead of doing things that take us away from our family for 4 hours, taking the whole family out there and having fun.
Great. Thank you, Andrew. John Hermans.
Thanks, Gary. Yeah, so I think of this question as to ensure the PGA is better tomorrow, or the association's better, essentially to make sure that we all have jobs. Again, we need to continue to grow the game. We need golfers. So as long as I've been in Reno since essentially 2013, full time, I've gotten very involved, as Andrew was saying, in the junior golf, not only at my club, but in our area. At our club, back 2013, 2014, I ran our junior program, but started a PGA Junior League team then when it was kind of new, and we've gotten to the point where at that point we barely could field one team, and now in the last 2 years, myself and Owen, one of our assistants, have actually run 2 teams out of Montreux. So obviously growing the game there. At Montreux, we've hosted a drive, chip, and putt local qualifier for since I think 2014. Every year, obviously didn't get to do it this year because of COVID, but we'll be back on the docket next year hosting a local qualifier. I have taught at the Fred Alexander Memorial Junior Golf Clinic in Carson City, which is this huge clinic that's a free clinic for any juniors and now families to come, and some of them have golfed before, some of them have never touched a club. They get a club, get to spend 4 hours at the golf course, just being introduced to the game. So again, growing the game there. And then in this past year, I got involved helping with Chris Stewart from the First Tee of Northern Nevada. They have a golf in schools program where we went to some elementary schools and used snag golf equipment and taught junior golf in the schools. And again, some of them had played golf, and other kids, it's just in Phi Ed class, they had never touched the club before and just had a ball with it. But the big thing with myself getting possibly more involved and maybe having this chance to be on the board is that's always what I've done. I've tried to keep myself involved, but I think now, if I were to be on the board, try to use that platform as being a board member and that voice to now it's time to get other people involved instead of just, I'm only one person. I'd like to make sure every course in our area, Reno and whatnot, has a PGA Junior League team. There's absolutely no reason that every course shouldn't have one, if not 2 PGA Junior League teams. Again, kind of, growing the game in that way. I always think about, a lot of people know Gus Jones in our area. I never worked for Gus, but I worked alongside Gus quite a bit. And I tell you what, I learned a ton working with Gus. And one of the things I learned from Gus is how to pick up the phone and call people. He's really good at picking up the phone and saying, hey, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to help with? So if I'm on the board, again, using that platform, picking up the phone, calling others and saying, hey, what are we going to do to get involved, especially with these junior golf programs? What are you going to do to help get involved in the community, get golf clubs into juniors and families' hands so that, again, we're growing the game, because without golfers, we don't have a PGA. So that's kind of my take on that question. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, John. Joe Smith, please.
My answer to this question is kind of threefold. The first thing for me is 100% diversity and inclusion. We need to get everybody that is interested in any kind of way in this sport, give them a seat at the table. Everybody needs to be heard and everybody needs to be felt. And we need to take those things to heart and learn how we can grow the game and make it more like the look of America. I agree with that 100%. The second one is 100% is player development. I'm John, I don't want to sound like I'm stepping on your toes, and I think it's great that you had 2 teams and everything. And we had our PGA Junior League here at Swinson. We started in 2016. We reached out. I started a junior clinic before that and had 4 kids start it in 2016. As of this season, this fall winter season, we're at 190 signed up. We have a ton of teams and a ton of coaches, and they're all PGA professionals. They're all very into junior golf, and it's a very diverse group of people that are involved from every background you can imagine. I believe that junior golf is 100% the future of our game. If we bring juniors into the game, not only are we bringing juniors into the game, but a lot of these parents that are a part of our program don't play the game as well. So we offer clinics to the parents of the junior leagues that are beginners or interested. And then we actually have been awarded a site for PGA Family Cup this year. We have not been able to start it, obviously, because of COVID. But the idea is to take these families who are now interested in the game and let them understand and realize how much fun this can be to do together and bring them to the game. Also making our properties welcoming to everybody and anybody at any given time. Our PGA Hope veterans that we have in our program know that they're welcome at our golf course anytime they want to be here. And I think that would be a good thing for a lot of our courses to open their doors to PGA Hope veteran graduates. It brings in a lot of goodwill, and it's the one thing in this game that we can give back as professionals, but will also spark that why I became a PGA professional. So the third thing I believe in this is communication. I would like to sit down, and it's just like I do with students when I'm teaching is, okay, why do you play this game? The number one thing to me is, why do you play this game? You're not going to learn and get better if you don't understand why you want to be out here doing it in the first place. If it's fun and it's drinking beers with your buddies and going out and having a good time, good. Let's make you the best at that we can make you. If it's the competitive side of it and you want to go out and you compete in NCGA tournaments, and then let's do that. And so the same thing with our professionals is, I think we need to take a step back and communicate and talk to our professionals and say, hey, why did you get into this game? Why did you get into this business? What can we do as an association and as a board to re-spark that interest in you so we can continue to grow the game? So thank you very much for the time.
Great. Thank you, Joe. Willie, you're next.
Okay. Yeah, looking at the questions that you sent with regards to the importance of our association and plan, properly for the years ahead. What's really important to me, like everyone else has mentioned, but I just see it from a different perspective because I am the epitome of what we're trying to do here, would be grow this game. You have to reach out. I mean, I was one of those kids that was just fortunate enough by a twist of fate to be where I was and how I learned. But going forward, our association has to intensify the work in regards to, inclusion. And diversity has to do with someone who doesn't have access. So there are a couple more guys in our section that are of African-American descent. I think Norman Blanco, Patrick Harris, and I think Todd Smith. I would love to do something with those guys, because what create a team that would go out to these areas where I grew up in South Sac. The one thing that I didn't see growing up playing this game is very many people to look like me. So in order for this game to grow, these kids in our community, these kids in our association, they have to see someone that looks like them, a representative of them. I think that gets them more motivated than just going into a neighborhood and saying, hey, let me show you how to do this. This is something that may not have been offered to you. I'm living proof of all of this. I mean, I'm a PGA member going on 20 years as of next year. my passion for this game and where we are in this game with nearly 30,000 members, and we don't make up maybe 1% of this. So for me, the passion comes with wanting to make a change, and helping out everyone in our section to better understand what we're trying to do is grow the game, like you say, but we need to change the map of it and the scope of it, excuse me, because if we don't, this game does not survive. And right now, this is something that's a coping mechanism for a lot of people. So what that means for kids of color, you know, a lot of them don't see, they don't see a way out of some of their situations. With me being on this board or being nominated to be on this board, it just helps you. It helps everyone with a different perspective and an avenue in which to reach into some of these neighborhoods. We've done numerous things at the Olympic Club, PGA Reach, not Reach, but sorry, Junior League and that sort of thing. I remember our first year doing this, we had enough juniors and just at the Olympic Club alone to have 7 teams, you know, but that's great. But what I'm not seeing, and includes the First Tee's perspective on this, is I'm not seeing the numbers that I thought I'd see by now. So my involvement with my interest and passion for getting on this board is to change that scope. That's why I'm here.
Willie, thank you. Good, timely advice. And last but not least, Jason, your center stage.
All right, well, thank you. And I too kind of have 3 little forks to this. And my first one is diversity, inclusive, accessibility for all. So what Willie's saying, spot on. I mean, we have to make sure we can open the doors and get the game out in front of center of everybody. And I think that that's critical for our future success. I also have education, and what I mean education, we need to ensure our professionals stay cutting edge, and we need to make sure that we are going to continue to keep up mostly in technology sector. The simulators are going to change the game going down the road. We're going to be able to have virtual lessons to where we actually are going to be in our members' homes and our customers' homes pretty soon. So the whole notion of a club is an extension of your home, the staff, an extension of your family. And in our world is I think that's the reality. We're going to even get closer. You know, also the last thing that I would bring up on this topic is the National Golf Foundation released these stats, and that essentially over the past 5 years, we brought 12 million new players into the game. So these are active players that come in, dedicate time, and start playing golf. Yet we've only retained 200,000 of those. So that's less than 2%. So we're not retaining our players. We're getting them, but we can't retain them. It's difficult. It's a difficult sport, as you all know, to become an accomplished player or a very good player. It takes a lifelong dedication, years and years. So we're dealing with members that are trying to get in, but they don't have fun for all those reasons we could sit here and talk about. And then they end up leaving. And that's a problem for all of us, because here we are in COVID, our membership numbers are increasing 20-30% just by default. So I think the key is retaining our members, retaining our people that keep coming back to play. And last, I would just like to say that we surveyed our membership and we asked them, we said, why did you join a club, or why are you playing golf? And number one, our response, top response, was because of the facility, because of the amenities, because of the club. But then we asked them, why did you keep your membership for as long as you've kept it? And it always comes back because of friendships, relationships, the culture, and having fun. So I think that we have to come up with social programs to engage our golfers and retain them. Op 36 is a great an example of where now they're taking not just the juniors, they're focused on beginning lady golfers, so that they have a program that as they embark on their journey of learning the game, they actually have a system that is meant to keep them engaged and to keep them a part of your club or a part of your system. So I think that that's a big part of what we got to keep our eye on. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Jason. This next question, we're going to reverse the order, and we're going to start with Jason first. You're going to get a double shot here, Jason. We'll put you right back on. But the question is, we've seen a resurgence recently in golf, and primarily due to the COVID crisis that we've all been going through. The question is, what would you do to continue to grow the interest in the game of golf when the other activities resume? And one thing was said earlier about soccer. I have granddaughters that played soccer, and I can see what soccer does to our game. But what would you do? And Jason, let's start again with you, and we'll work right back up in reverse order.
So I think what I would do is, I think we got to hit the youth early. We've got to hit them in the schools. Like I do instruction for after school programs for the students that have to stay after school because their parents can't pick them up right after school. And I think it's at that level that we need to impact these kids and everybody, to allow the growth for our organization and to ensure that they understand what we're doing and what it's all about. For myself, the perfect example would be, as I was a 14-year-old young man in high school. We're talking career, we're talking about what we're going to be doing for the rest of our lives. And at that point in time, I was speaking about becoming a PGA golf professional, being a PGA mentor, and learning the game and teaching the game and growing the game. And I think that that's where we need to really focus our efforts, and we need to impact the youth in even our programs at the club. I think we can speak to about what the golf profession is about what the opportunities are, so that we can keep our association at the forefront of the specialty and getting these golfers into it. So I hope that answers your question.
Very good. Thank you, Jason. Willie Tony Jr., you are next, sir.
Sorry about that. Gary, repeat the question real quick, please.
Okay, the question is, we've seen a resurgence in the game of golf, certainly since the COVID has hit us. And the question is, what would you do to continue the growth of and the interest of the game of golf when the other activities resume?
Yeah, I think we've all benefited actually once, we were allowed to resume activities with golf. But as going forward, the interest has to stay there based on what we do to promote it. I mean, and that means, again, like you said, we go into those areas, in our neighborhoods, in our schools, and youth is always the driving force behind it. But we don't retain our golfers, probably more so. It has more to do with the fact that we don't retain the parents. You can get your child playing the game, and the parent will support it. But if we could get the parent to actually join in and target that, and like I like what Joe Smith said, they have a program for where the parents of the kids that are in their junior league program, you establish something for the parents to do to try and learn the game. It could be not even a 5-hole deal, just a learn how to play and a drink after. But as we come out of this, and I'm sure we will come out of this pandemic, I think that the game is actually going to be in a better position to retain, or to keep retention of players, just due to the fact that it was a source of relief for most of our people. So we have to kind of piggyback on that and drive that instance of it's a place for you to relax and enjoy, and then actually get back into the normal walk of life. I've always looked at the fact that if we aligned ourselves, the association with anything that had to do with, youth classes, parents, just influences. You need influences to retain that, our members and our players. So, 200,000 is a really, really low number for 12 million that we added to the game. So I just feel like if we addressed that and made it a little more fun, and we've always said this, our kids will play the game if their friends play the game. So I would imagine if we have the parents of those kids and some of their friends playing it, we can keep them as well. So my initiative would be just to kind of create some type of program that involves, like the family deal. I don't know that we've offered that at our club, and that's something that we may want to look at.
Very good. Thank you, Willie. Joe Smith, you are next, and I would like to make just a quick comment. You had talked about getting together with your brother professionals and sharing ideas, and I'm a huge fan of that. And I saw that years ago with Gary Wyron, and Gary actually wrote a book where he asked professionals from all over the United States to send in an idea that worked at their club. Well, if we could get everybody to send just one idea that works, imagine how many great ideas we'd have at our clubs that we could share. So I like your idea, and I hope you will pursue that, because I think there's a huge amount of benefit to not just your individual club, but to all clubs as a result of people sharing their ideas. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, sir.
So you led right into my answer for this question. My answer for this question and a lot of issues always breaks down to communication. I think we have to communicate with our customer first. So, and I online surveys are great, online reviews, and the Facebook reviews, the Google reviews, whatever we can learn from those faceless reviews. But getting outside of our office and going outside and just talking to people as they're drinking a beer, eating a hot dog, or our members, and getting to know, again, why do we play this game? What makes this game fun? What can I do as a PGA professional to make you want to do that more, to make you want to be an ambassador for our sport to your friends, your family, your colleagues, everybody, and say, hey, this PGA professional is a nice guy. He's teaching me how to play this game, or girl or lady, and they're doing all these things to get me to make this enjoyable, to not make it's work. Golf is work. Golf is hard. Like, I don't think anybody denies the fact that the game of golf is on its surface easy to understand. We hit a ball as little as possible and get it in a hole. But to be able to do that is exceptionally difficult, but it can be fun. And if we do it at the right times with the right people, it's a lot of fun. And I would just like to get together with professionals in our section and communicate that the best practices that we've had at our facilities, what we've heard from our customers, and how our customers will come back to the game to enjoy it. I do believe that junior golf is where this all starts and where player development breeds. I think the best thing that we do as PGA members is player development and growing the game. And I think we could do better at it, and I think we can do more of it, but we already do a wonderful job doing it. Everybody's into junior golf on this committee, which is wonderful for me to hear because it's my passion. And then if we can just continue to learn from our customers and our members what's important to them about this game, and we continue to go out of our own way and maybe think about it from their point of view, not our small percentage of players who have been fortunate to play this game at a high level, and think about it at the 99% and how they enjoy it and why they enjoy it, and we do those kinds of things for them, I think we can keep this game at a level that's high right now, and it can continue to grow.
Great, thank you, Joe. John Hermans, you're next, sir.
Okay, thank you, Gary. No, the question's a great question. Golf certainly at our club has seen a resurgence this year. I'm sure with a lot of people, and talked about it earlier today. Obviously there's absolutely nothing good about COVID and what has happened this year. But if there's anything that did come good out of it, it's golf is booming because of it, because it's one of those things that you can do. At our club, I think what we saw is our members would normally be traveling, taking vacations in the summertime, and this year they couldn't. So they were playing golf. And then same thing, I mean, we had several high schoolers we have a star quarterback that, well, football shut down, so he doesn't get to play football this year. And then we have a baseball player, and all these high schoolers, all of a sudden, that have been members at our club for years that have never played golf, all of a sudden they were buying new sets of clubs, and we're seeing them on the range and they're playing golf. And we really got lucky. We got lucky. We got all these golfers that are using our facilities. At Montreux this year, we're already at 24,000 rounds year to date, which for us is a ton, when the most we've ever done in a season before is 19,000. So we're up, whatever that is, 30%. So again, we got lucky. We got all these golfers. I gave at least 5 or 6 different gals, ladies, wives, their husband played golf all the time. They never stepped foot on property, or they went for dinner or they went to the pool, but they never played golf. And I had 5 or 6 different gals this year that started taking lessons from me this year, and they bought beginner sets of clubs, whatever else. So hard good sales were through the roof. But the question has been, and a lot of our members have asked, and we've had golf committee meetings and whatnot, do you expect it to be the same? Let's say COVID magically went away in 2021. Do we expect it to be the same? Well, again, the answer to that is I don't know if it would be, if people went back and they were traveling and whatnot. But what are we going to do to continue this resurgence? It's up to us. It's up to the golf professionals. So next year, say COVID magically goes away and high schoolers are playing football again and soccer's back open and people are on vacations. Well, it is up to us at our clubs as golf professionals to keep this kind of wave going. If some of those gals that I said, 5, 6 different, brand new beginning ladies that started taking lessons from me this year, if all of a sudden everybody's going back on vacation and I start not hearing from them, it's up to me to reach out and call them and say, hey, you can come out. Have you been playing at all? Do you want to come out for a lesson? Or again, our junior golf program was huge this year. A lot of credit to our assistant Brian, who did use the Operation 36 program this year. Our junior golf program was 500% or something crazy this year. We need to keep that going. We need to continue to grow that program, and we're actually looking at potentially having a full-time player development coordinator at Montreux next year, which we hadn't really ever done before in terms of just a dedicated role just to player development. But it's up to us to have that role to continue to keep these new golfers coming back now, make sure they have a reason to come back. So in the end, again, I just think it's up to us to make sure we keep in touch with these new golfers that we got, make sure they keep coming, make sure they keep having fun, maybe introduce this high school football star that has been playing golf all year because he can't play football to this baseball star that we have, these two, introduce them to each other. They don't know each other, introduce them to each other, make sure they start coming out and playing golf instead of just going back and playing football and baseball on those brand new clubs that they got this year, just throwing them in the garage and forgetting about them. It's up to us to just continue to make sure that they keep coming back, keep having fun with it, keep them involved.
Thank you, John. Andrew Workman, you're next, sir.
Thank you, Gary. I'd love to think this is a new problem we're going to have, but it's a problem we've been facing for years as an association. The NGF released a study that said over a 5-year span, 12 million new golfers came to the game of golf. Out of those 12 million, 200,000 are still playing. That's less than 2% retention. We need to work a lot on it, not just during these COVID times, but just every single year. John mentioned Operation 36. I think one great thing that Operation 36 does, not just for junior golfers, but for new golfers, is they have an app. They're embracing the technology side of it. They're showing people where they are, how much they've grown in the game, and what they need to do to improve to continue in the game. They make it so that it's very simple for people to know what's going on. It also increases the amount of communication that the coaches have with the students, with the parents of the junior golfers. And like Jason said earlier, it's all about the relationships. If we can build more relationships with our golfers, it's going to keep them coming back again and again. It's not just a matter of this year being everyone coming back. It's been going on for a long time. We really need to work on building those relationships, making sure that everyone who comes to golf knows what they need to do to continue the game, and knows that when they come out, they're going to see a friendly face. They're going to be able to have that hot dog and a beer that Joe's talking about. Everyone needs to be felt like it's cheers when they come to the golf course. Everyone knows your name. That's the same thing we try to do with the PGA Hope program. We try to make sure that when they show up, they know it's where they want to be, and they're going to enjoy their time every time they're there, and that's going to want them to keep coming back. That's how I think that we're going to continue to grow the game and keep more people interested in golf. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Andrew. And Devin, last but not least, sir, you have the stage.
Thank you, Gary. Actually, this subject I've been thinking about for months now. You know, and I'm fortunate, one of the crossovers in my position is I am on the phone quite a bit talking to our fellow professionals about different things. And this subject's been coming up, and I've been taking notes. And one goal initiative that I've been tossing around and I have all the notes for is best practices, similar to what you were mentioning, Gary, and Joe, I believe earlier, is why not go back to exactly what Dee Dee told me from day one and use the collaborative effort and the knowledge of all of us and create a best practice. And there's some interesting things, you know, how do we make things so enjoyable when we're so booming right now that people want to come back? And then also in this initiative, make sure that we're cautioning things, not being short-sighted on things. You know, if a round of golf is now taking 5.5 hours, are we turning people off from our game? Will they want to return? So creating some best practices and getting that out to our membership is certainly a goal of mine. I love the idea. Obviously, as you mentioned, Gary, this is not reinventing the wheel, but I'm starting some pretty good notes, a couple pages worth now so far of some best practices and some cautions as well that I plan on sharing with our professionals. And hopefully we can keep this retention going for years to come, because I definitely agree with Andrew and in the proofs and the stats that this isn't a new problem. It's just really in our face right now that everybody's booming, everybody's busy, and we might see a larger drop off if things if we're not proactive about it. So, thank you for your time.
Great, thank you, Devin. Lynn, before I turn this over to you for the last question, I'm one of the few that have been around for a few more years than the rest of these wonderful folks. Back in the 70s, I was very active in attending national meetings and whatnot. And one of the big problems that we had then was that we had too many people coming into the profession. And the fear was that we were going to generate so many golf professionals that we couldn't place them all. And as time goes on, and as we start seeing attrition, now we're seeing just the reverse. So I guess I've lived long enough to see the thing go almost full circle here. So with that, Len, let me turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Gary. And gentlemen, thank you for your open and honest answers thus far. A little bit of a twist in this last question, but yet certainly a continuation. We've talked about facilities, we've talked about programs. So let's talk about us for a moment. And Gary did a wonderful segue there. You know, we are at a time where we are to some extent and a large extent losing our base. Many are retiring, and also the PGM universities are at a low point in registrations. So with the retirements and many of the separations that have occurred as a result of COVID, we're simply not filling the pipeline fast enough. So the question is, you know, we all join because of passion for the great game of golf, but also with servants' hearts. And that's really what has kept us in there, to keep, as everybody has said, keep getting better, keep developing that program. How can we include more? How can we expand? and how can we just become better professionals on a day-to-day basis. So we'll go now, please, to your thoughts on how do we address this challenge of losing members, not filling the pipeline with associates coming in. Another word to say it'd be put the pizzazz back in the profession and put the excitement back in the profession. And Devin, we'll start with you and go reverse order.
Okay, great. Thanks, Len. Yeah, like most of us, I grew up working, picking balls at a driving range, or some of us might have grown up caddying, a cart barn. We got exposed to the golf industry at an early age, and I really think we need to refocus and look at that, and provide opportunities to more young men and women so they have similar experiences. And obviously that's the long game, but to me, that's how we're going to build the future of our profession. We need to broaden the outreach. It's very similar to what we were talking about before with the D&I committees. We've also formed a task force with others, outside of the PGA, the First Tee, the Boys and Girls Club, city officials, other nonprofits, to further these discussions around the importance of opening doors to people that might never have thought of golf. So, with a common collaborative goal with my current position and the NCPGA to grow the industry and professionals is our internship program. We have a great internship program, and the goal is really to give priority to men and women of color, or maybe some financial hardships, and really opening those doors to people that might not have thought of it. And to me, I think, as we were mentioning before, we need to bring our association very similar to the way America's looking. And how do we do that? We have to open some doors and provide opportunities for them. So to me, by embracing diversity and inclusion, we can seize these opportunities and see a resurgence in golf. And I actually think we're in a great position to do that. As we were just talking about with the resurgence of golf and the amount of people giving it a go, now is the time to act on that and hopefully find some opportunities for some young men and women.
Thank you, Devin. Andrew?
When I got into the game of golf in 2004, so only about 16 years ago, I started at Troon Country Club out in Arizona under the then head professional, Tim Rafferty. Currently at Troon Country Club, the head professional is Tim Rafferty. So golf is a place where people get into positions and stay there for a very long time. Like Gary said, we had another resurgence, I think early 2000s, where we were building more golf courses than we can maintain. I think it was 2003 that more than 370 golf courses were built in the year. So more than one per day new golf course opened in a year. And then we obviously saw that when the depression hit 2007 to 2010, that a lot of golf courses started to close down. We still have golf courses closing down today. And so we got to the point where we couldn't maintain it. And I think we had a lot of golf professionals joining us then because we had the push. We had all these courses opening up. We need more golf professionals. We push for it. And then golf courses start closing down. We have head professionals and directors of golf that stay there for 20, 30 years. And we see these guys coming into the profession and getting stuck in the assistant professional position and not being able to move forward because those higher roles in our industry weren't being open. Now we have the point where those higher roles are being open because we've had people finally retiring, and the golf professionals that were built into our organization have all gotten out because they didn't see anywhere to go. So now that we have more spots open, we'll probably see that accordion effect start to grow again, have more professionals start to grow again as we start to call for more professionals. And then we're probably going to see it in 15, 20 years, the same thing happen where a lot of people are getting out of the profession again because we're filling those positions that people stay at for 15 or 20 years. It's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just where we are right now. When it comes down to it, we have to think about playing the infinite game, not necessarily trying to win this year and trying to get more people out there this year, but just trying to get more people interested in our profession and just keep the profession going year after year after year, trying to stay in business, trying to keep people in our business. And the more we can talk about it, the more we can tell people, hey, this is a great industry to be in. more people will sign up. But unfortunately, over the last 5-10 years, we've seen a lot of people getting out of the industry. I know probably 5 off the top of my head that have gotten out of the industry to other things because there's more room for advancement, better pay, those kind of things. So hopefully over the next 10 years, we can see that start to go back the other way. But I think it's just a matter of the ebb and flow of our industry. We just have to keep on trying and keep on having a positive attitude and keep on giving people the good word about the golf profession.
Great. Thank you, Andrew. John?
Yeah, thanks, Lynn. So, yeah, you mentioned the lower registration levels in PGM universities. You know, I can speak to this a little bit again because I went to Fair State's professional golf management program in Michigan, graduated in 2012. But even just speaking about my own class, so when I was a freshman, I guess it would have been 2008 or something like that. We had about 80 people. So at that time, it was a pretty good registration. About 80 kids in my freshman class in the professional golf management program. Fast forward to December of 2012, when we graduated, we were down to 30. So out of 80 that started, we lost 50. We graduated with 30. So something's wrong there. These kids went on internships. Something about the profession, they didn't like it. They didn't graduate, or they switched to other majors. Graduated with 30. Now, fast forward another 8 years or so since then, and out of my class of 30, which we were very tight-knit, so I've kept in touch with a lot of them, or Facebook or whatnot. You can keep in touch. Honestly, I think I may be one of 5 left out of my original 80 that started as a freshman. I think I'm one of 5 left in the industry, which is really sad. And I can tell you, I absolutely love the industry. Now, I also got, I don't know if you want to call it lucky, to end up where I ended up at Montreux. It is absolutely fantastic. Work with a great group of guys. Absolutely love it. Zach Jonas, our director of golf, he knows how to make sure to take care of staff, make sure everybody's enjoying themselves, make sure we're paid what, we look at Carol sends out the PGA compensation survey. We look at the pay. We make sure that all of our citizens and whatnot are paid well and whatnot. But again, I think this profession, unfortunately, has a little bit of that stigma of you're going to work a ton of hours. You're going to work 70 hours a week. You're going to get 1 day off. You're going to get Monday off, and that's it. You're not going to get paid a lot. You're never going to have a weekend day off. And I think that's the problem right now. I think I'm in for some change a little bit. And again, I think that's what we've done really well. That's what I've learned from Zach at Montreux, is that we give our staff, we give our assistants, maybe not every weekend off, certainly not the whole weekend off, but maybe not every weekend off, but you're going to get a weekend day off somewhere here and there. If you want to take a little weekend trip, we're going to try to make it happen. Again, taking care of those assistants, and as well, we've got assistants that are in the PGA program, making sure we're helping them pay for that, to get through that PGA program, helping them, with their book work and whatnot. But to me, we need to change this profession a little bit. Get the golf professionals, the head professionals, the GMs, the director of golf, to understand that, hey, whatever you can do to be creative, to make sure you're taking care of their staff, making sure that we are paying them as well as you possibly can within your facility, making sure that they do get a little time off that's not just a Monday here and there. I think that's really what we have to do. So we need to change this profession a little bit. So I would just kind of push, the professionals that I know, or use the network, push that idea to be creative. Figure out what we need to do to kind of change like I said, the stigma, and make this a really desirable profession again. So we don't get to the point where there's, 80 in a freshman class down to 5 left in the industry. There's obviously a problem there. So just need to change somehow, find a way to be creative, make sure we're taking care of our staff. So that's kind of my thought on that question.
Great. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, John. Joe, to you now in revitalizing the interest in earning the badge. Yeah.
So I think Andrew hit it on the head at the end of his comment there. He said attitude. Attitude is everything. I think attitude is from us as PGA professionals sitting in our office, showing people that the job is enjoyable and that we have a passion for the game and we have a passion for everything else. Gets the people that see us doing our job excited about the job, excited about the business. So if we can somehow get an overall mentoring philosophy that the way we carry ourselves and the way our attitude shows, and we're not complaining about getting, working 7 days a week and not getting to play golf. I mean, those things that I hear from professionals sometimes, I think, man, if I was an assistant and young and impressionable, I would want to have nothing to do with this game. So I think our attitude that we portray towards, not obviously not the people that are running for this board position, and not the people on the board, because we're all very passionate about the game, but there are professionals out there that we need to communicate with as a board and figure out, how to re-spark their interest in the game, re-spark their interest in the business, so that when people do have internships, like John was saying, and they end up going to one of these clubs, they're not going to be working for a professional that's ho-hum and everything and Ebenezer Scrooge on the business. I don't think that's not healthy for us to grow the business. These are probably great golf professionals and they do their job wonderfully, but it's an attitude that comes across. I also believe to do this, we as management at these properties and as a board need to take a long look at people that are around our facility, as far as cart guys and shop guys or gals and people in our restaurant that show an interest. So for example, if you have a high school student that's working for you that's number 3 on his high school team, and he's floundering about where to go to school, and he's floundering about what he wants to do for the rest of his life, but he loves the game of golf, he loves playing it, he's never gotten it, get him excited about the PGA, because it's an opportunity for him that he may not have otherwise, to be in a business and a profession that he can thrive in because he enjoys the game. And then teach him, help him, mentor him into being a good enough golfer to pass the PAT, a good enough student to get through this online program, and do everything we can to help them through it. I also think that there's opportunities to go to inner city stuff where there's career days. I think there's at high schools and junior colleges, I think there's opportunities for us as golf professionals to be involved in those kinds of situations where we, as passionate professionals, go and we talk to people about what this business can be. And you never know, you might have that guy who's number 2 on his junior college team that really, is he going to take the game any farther? Maybe not, but he has a passion for the game and wants to play it and wants to be around it. Well, let's foster that passion right from the start. Let's find those people right from the start. Let's go in and see what we can do. And just the overall attitude of being passionate about the game for me is number 1. And that's how we're going to convince people that this is where they want to be.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for that response. And next up, Willie Tony. Willie?
All right. That's this question, with the retirement of a lot of our professionals, guys have been in the business 20, 30, some of them 40 years. I get it. But with the registration being low, I think this all comes down to, when you start to look at just your job listings on PGA Links, which has now been changed. This has more to do with what our starting compensation is as an assistant. I mean, there's issues with the fact that I feel like there's an average kind of low rate there that people kind of get turned off about. Then with regards to, the PGM universities, I don't think we as an association do enough to go to these career days and these career festivals and stuff like that to advocate for golf, literally. I mean, I remember being at school at Prairie View A&M. We didn't have a PGM program, but we would have career festivals, 3 or 4 of them a year. And you would have all these organizations come. So I was a criminal justice major. So you had all the law enforcement agencies come. You had DEA, FBI, CIA, you name it, they were there. With regards to the PGM programs and our diminishing numbers, probably has more to do with the fact that we don't see a team of our PGA professionals out at these places, high schools that are in junior colleges, like Joe Smith said. You need some type of representation, somebody advocating for the profession, because if we don't, you know, there are kids and kids that will look at their normal college process and go, I'm gonna be an accounting or an econ or a business major, and they're gonna go, my starting pay coming out as an accounting major is gonna be this, and they're gonna look at our pay scale and they're gonna look at this and they're gonna go, well, I'm gonna go this direction. You know, so a lot of this has to do with the compensation survey. Believe it or not, I don't think everyone actually is accurate with what they're disclosing as a compensation. And part of that is they don't want either their facilities or their upper management to know exactly that they're disclosing this information. So I don't know that that's all accurate. I mean, it's as accurate as it can be statistically, but I feel like, you know, as an assistant golf professional, I remember coming into the business, I think I made $7.35 an hour, you know, and that was back in '95. And then it started to elevate depending upon the level of the PGA program you were in. So in order for us to push this association forward and to create interest, we have to go right back to the ground floor of this, to the high schools, then to the junior colleges, and then to the colleges, and say, this is what we're offering. Okay? So that would be my specific target on creating interest.
Great. Thank you so much, Willie. And Jason.
Yes, thank you. You know, similar to the others, we need to educate, as others have said, we need to educate and promote our association with the youth. Again, as I was saying before, another question, I kind of answered this one, but we needed to promote it with our youth programs. And we need them to understand what a career in golf means and where it can take you. I would say over the past couple of years, as Willie was speaking to, yeah, the wages have become stagnant. Inflation's growing higher than what you're making. And so it's not as attractive as it was back when I got into business to become a professional, because you could make a good earning and you could really do something that you love to do. We're all hospitality, heart minded, and we're loyal. And that's what you're looking for. And I think back to the 2%, if we're not engaging our members and our customers and getting them to come back, I think we've seen oversupply in some areas hurting us. So we can never get to the optimal member levels you want or the optimal play counts you want. Therefore, revenues are down. So you have to take cost cutting measures. I know that everywhere I've worked, I'm doing more with less, certainly than I was doing 15, 20 years ago when I was at Desert Mountain. And I think those challenges, working weekends, we deal with a lot of conflicts from day to day. I think everybody could agree, whether it be member to member, customer to customer, we have conflict with staff. You know, all those things put together, it's not an easy job. It's a hard job, and to sustain your quality of life and to be able to learn how to have that sustained career in it, it's tough these days. But again, I think if we're doing what we do and what's natural to us and growing the game, if we're engaging the members, creating the social programs to engage them and to retain them and to keep them, you know, the revenues start flowing. And then more and more programming that we put in, we make more revenues. But my point is if you can consistently get there, that means you have more operational dollars flowing through. And then we have the resources potentially to get us back to maybe where we were, so that we have those opportunities to do more of what we love to do with the profession. But I would say also, again, and it's just teaching our juniors and teaching our kids about what a career in golf is. The kids that I get in front of that may be 16, 17, 18 in our junior programs, quite frankly, I don't think any of them have ever thought about a job in golf. They're there to play, become good players, learn the game. Their parents are on them and all those things. So I think that if we really hit that sector over time, we'll see an influx of potentially more people wanting to get into our field. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. And you know, COVID was devastating, as John mentioned earlier. COVID was devastating in so many ways, but in positive in ways as well. And I think I think today's session is a great example of that. We've had to take a hard look at our profession. That what do we do well? What do we want to change? And some of it is by choice. Some of it is because it's been legislated to us. But we've also, this last question is a very difficult question in terms of how do we keep ourselves going? We've talked about keeping the customer going, keeping our members going. And then of course, how do we keep ourselves going? So I thank you all for that tremendous input. So we'll start to wrap now with closing statements, and like to, again, keep it to 3 minutes each for closing statements, and then we'll wrap up. And as we have done, we'll now reverse the order. So Jason, you're all teed up again. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn, Gary, and everybody again for your time. I really appreciate the opportunity to get in front of you and to speak about these issues. I have, I'm defined by golf. We're like, I call us all winemakers. We represent our clubs and our facilities. We carry the brand forward. We help define the brand. And I find myself not only leading and inspiring those who report to me, and because as professionals, I think the number one reason I'm in this business, that's kept me in this business, would have to be being a mentor and having those mentorship relationships, not only as a mentor, but as a mentoree. I've worked for 2 professionals in my life that have really shaped my career. And one of them was a former past president of the PGA. His name's Mark Kazire. And the people that I've been around, my mentors, the one thing they've always told me, if they've had any regrets in their careers, and these are Hall of Fame careers, that they never spent enough time with their families, and that their work-life balance was a little out of whack. And so for me personally, having 4 kids, I've been focused on work and my family for the past 10, 15 years. And so what I want you to know is now that my family's on the backside of the curve, I just turned 50, I'm finding I have much more time now to devote back to my profession and to give back outside of just work and my family. So that's why I'm here today. I want you all to know that I have the time and I have the desire, I have the will, and most importantly, I feel that, I have to give back, because those that have given to me and given to everybody here in front of us today, it's what we do. It's in our heart of hearts. And I hope that you'll find the time to give me your vote so I can get on the board and start doing what I really want to do and what I'm really committed to being doing, and that's serving you all and serving our profession. And really, again, giving back however I can give back with all my life experiences and what I've learned of 35 years of doing this, that it's now time for me to do what I can do to help our association and all the youth, and to do anything we can do to get this game growing and where we want it. So I really appreciate the time for you allowing me to be here today. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Jason. Again, ladies and gentlemen, Jason Walter, Director of Golf at Diablo Country Club, and now on to our Assistant Golf Professional at the Olympic Club, Willie Tony Jr. Willie?
Lynn and Gary, members of the board, and as well fellow golf professionals, really appreciate the time today for me to express my passion, my commitment to possibly becoming a member of this as a director. I have so many positive influences as it pertains to this game of golf, from 10 years old to now, too many to mention, but the impact of this game for me has been, if you think about a childhood that's interrupted, and there's ways in which you can go. I mean, there's a couple of different streets that you can go down. I was one of those kids that chose golf, which kept me from doing the wrong thing. So great character builder sport. Mother never had to worry about where I was. I was always at the golf course. I started working at Bing Maloney at age 13. So I was the cart kid, where the outside service staff that we have at our club is probably 25 deep. I was one kid that washed, 85 carts, parked them, picked the range, cleaned the bathrooms, all that sort of thing. But what all of those experiences taught me, and the what golf has provided for me was a safe haven. It got me through the difficult years of teenage years in high school, got me into college, and then of all places in the last 15 years, the Olympic Club. It's the farthest place from my mind I ever thought I'd work. So with that being said, it's about these experiences that help me. It makes me want to help anyone that has passion for this game. And that means anyone. I mean, especially the kids in my neighborhood where I grew up, and anyone that in this association that knows me, knows one thing about me. This game means the world to me. I don't make the most money and never had thought I would unless I got on the tour, which was the original thought. But, with that being said, being a PGA member and being an influence to, you guys and my family. I have 4 kids. Like I think I heard one of you guys say you have 4 kids. I have 4. As a matter of fact, today is my oldest son's 24th birthday. So once I get done with this, I'm gonna go hang out with him. But
awesome.
The game, like I said, has given me a lot of positive things, and I just going forward, I would wish to help influence the generation coming behind us and maintain that balance of interest in our game. But if chosen, definitely my time, I have the time to do what's necessary for this board, and I have the passion and drive to light the fire under this board. So with that being said, thank you very much, guys.
Len, you're on mute.
That's too bad, Joe, because that was an award-winning introduction.
What are you gonna do? That wouldn't be the first time I missed a good introduction for me.
So again, our general manager at Swenson Park Golf Club, and also chapter president, Mr. Joe Smith. Joe?
Yeah, Len, and thank you, Gary, everybody on the board, everybody running for this seat. Thank you all very much for letting me be part of this party. It's a lot of fun to be involved. I'm very passionate about being involved. I like sparking questions and change and showing interest in how to be creative and how to come up with ideas for this ever-changing world and industry that we live in. I look forward to the opportunity to possibly someday serving on this board. I currently serve on 3 boards where I'm the president of 2, including our San Joaquin Valley chapter and my local theater here in town. I have a little bit of theater background where I get up on stage and make a fool of myself, and it's a lot of fun. So I have a passion for serving and trying to make things better. Not my image of better, but the entire community's image of better. I have ideas and I have things that I will bring to the table, but I'm not always right. And I like listening to other people's ideas and hearing what they have to say. And, if I'm not right, hey, that's great. Let's go with that and see if it works. But I will always have an idea. I will always have an opinion. I will always be open and honest. 3 things in this life matter a world to me, and that's my family, my friends, and being a PGA professional, and they all kind of rank right up in the same spot. So I'm more proud today than I've ever been of being a PGA professional, just because I got to listen to Andrew, Devin, John, Jason, and Willie all about how passionate they are about the game. And it's so nice and so refreshing to hear this group of people talk, that I am honored and just to have this privilege to share this medium with you today. And I hope going forward that whichever ones of us get to the board positions, that we work together and we strive for change and we strive for betterment. So thank you all very much for the time today. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you very much. Next to the head golf professional, Montreux Golf and Country Club, Mr. John Hermans. John?
Len, thank you. And yet, just to echo whatever everybody else has said, I just want to, thank everybody for giving me this chance to even run for the board. As many of you, as we've talked about this whole time, being on the board obviously takes quite a bit of commitment and time. The one thing I will say is that I have the time. Jason, Willie, you guys, I'm sure probably have just about everybody has kids. Everybody's talking about their 4 kids. And Jason, you were saying you're kind of on the back end of it where your kids are growing up and whatnot. I don't have any kids yet, so anyway. So I have plenty of time as of now. My wife is over in the other room working from home. She's probably thinking, okay, so I'm not going to, so you work all these hours and now you're going to run for the board and now I'm going to see you even less. Yeah, sorry, honey. But anyway, I do have the time. I don't have the kids. Kind of have the passion and the drive to do whatever it takes. Something I'm really looking forward to if I get on the board, I just like being involved for the networking. Again, Joe, like you were just saying, just a pleasure to meet everybody. Being on this side of the hill, a lot of the section activities obviously are on the other side of the hill. We're here in Reno. Don't always get a chance. We have a very tight-knit group of PGA professionals here, Andrew, myself, and a lot of the guys on this side of the hill, but we don't always get a chance to go over there and meet a lot of the PGA professionals over there. So I look forward to this chance to network and meet a lot more in this kind of huge section. And again, I really, getting on this board again, I really don't have any sort of agenda or anything like that. For me, it's just I'm willing to do whatever it takes, whatever legwork, put in whatever time, head up whatever committees, whatever's needed of me. I'm there and willing to do it. And again, appreciate the chance to do so. So thank you.
Thank you, John. And to our executive director for the Northern Nevada Golf Association and current board member, Andrew Workman. Andrew?
I just want to say again, thank you very much to Gary Plato for hosting this event and for Len Dumas and Caitlin Doyle from our section staff for making it happen. I've really appreciated my time on the board so far. Volunteering for boards is definitely something that's like a drug. If you do it once, you want to do it again and again and again, because it's just so much fun giving back and being a part of the conversation, meeting so many new people and helping out and helping the organization go forward. So I've really appreciated my time on the board. Really look forward to the chance to do it again if you cast your vote for me. I appreciate that. I unlike John, I have 3 kids. I have 3 daughters and my wife. So as the sole male in the household, I'm looking for something to get me out of the house more. So I would love to be on the board again. If you can cast a vote for me, I'd appreciate it. I look forward to serving the 1,100 members of our section more. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. And finally, in our closing comments, the Director of Programs for Youth on Course, Mr. Devin Maheen. Devin?
Thanks, Glenn. Well, 2 years ago, I was extremely humbled and honored to be privileged voted as a board member. And I absolutely love it. I love serving each and every one of you. And my hope is, once again, you'll honor me. And as I have so many unfinished items, I mentioned them before, I'm passionate to see those launched and for those yet to come. It's just I think it was said before, time is not an issue for me. I'm on the 3 kids side of our board here. They are on the older side. So, and my work allows me the time with so much crossover. So, to me, focusing on the longevity of the sport is key. And most importantly, I love this game and what the NCPGA represents in my own life. I appreciate everyone's time and attendance throughout this process. I want to wish all of my fellow candidates here the best in this election. We have a wonderful group here gathered, and my hat's off to the nominating committee, Mr. Plato, Mr. Dumas, the whole NCPGA staff for doing a great job. And I just want to thank everybody again, and I appreciate your consideration.
Thank you, Devin. And thank you, gentlemen. I think it's an understatement to say that this has been a very important and powerful session with everyone sharing from the heart about the game that we love so much. And continuing to wrap up, I'd like to turn it to past President Plato for some closing comments. And Gary, again, thank you for leading up the nominating committee the second year in a row and getting us to this point.
Thank you, Lynn, and thanks to all of the candidates. I've said it many times, and of course, it was brought up here by every single one of you gentlemen, that junior golf is kind of the bedrock under a lot of what we talked about here this morning. And again, I've said this many times, I truly believe that if we could get everybody in the world playing golf, we would have far less problems than what we currently have, and we'd have a much better world to live in. So the goal is to get everybody playing golf. I guess that is what our real goal is. We have some good news out of this morning. We have 6 extremely qualified candidates. Speaking for our nominating committee, we are pleased that each one of you gentlemen have chose to throw your hat in the ring, and no matter who gets in, we have excellent candidates, and I would encourage those that don't get in to continue to be active and to rerun again, because every single one of you deserve to be on the board. And the bad news that I have is that I just wish I could vote for every single one of you. Lynn, is there any way we can increase the board to even more than it already is? Because
vote early and vote often, Gary.
Yeah, every single one of these gentlemen deserve to be on the board, and you have made my decision extremely hard after listening to each of you, because you are incredible professionals. My hat's off to you, and I wish you good luck in the election, and please stay involved. Lynn, back to you.
Okay, thank you, Gary. And you know, sometimes the good news is the bad news, and I think that's the case here. Is that we have 6 amazing candidates and a difficult decision ahead of us. That is actually the good news as well. So, Gary, thank you again, you and the committee, for all your years of service to the Northern California PGA, and your induction into our Hall of Fame last year. Obviously, that was well-deserved and right on time. So, gentlemen, thank you for raising your hands. For many of you, it's raising your hands for the second time to keep involved and stay involved and or get involved, regardless of how busy we are. We always have that servant's heart to give back to our profession. And, you know, one of our goals is to make the section smaller. I did a little bit of math last year and figured we're about 130,000 square miles. That's pretty intimidating, but with a force like this and the communication going on, I think we are making inroads in somehow making our section smaller. So a couple of admin things, and then we'll say, you know, good morning to everybody. The ballots, again, the ballots will be out tomorrow. They are electronic ballots. There are 3 seats available. So for everyone, the message will be to vote up to 3 candidates. Then voting will be open until the 11th of November. So we've got a solid couple of weeks of voting. Again, ballots will be out tomorrow. We'll send a link to this session as well for those that weren't able to attend, or for those that are able to attend and would like to review. We'll send a link to this because I think that'd be very, very helpful, again, in taking us to the members and associates of the Northern California PGA. And of course, the voting will be by members in good standing. Please also, a couple of commercials. Keep in mind that we have a national vote for Secretary of the PGA of America next Thursday, and that will be live streamed beginning at 11 o'clock Pacific next Thursday. That's a week from today, the 29th. It's anticipated to be about a 3.5-hour session, and we will be voting for National Secretary towards the end of that session. Also, tomorrow we have our California-Nevada chat, and I bring it up because we have Jonathan Ride, who's the CEO of Supreme Golf. As many of you know, the PGA of America has withdrawn from the Tee Time Coalition. They're part founder of about 5 or 6 years ago, now entering into the Tee Time agreement with Supreme Golf, and this could affect all of us in many ways. So you'll see a link, a registration link for that. That's tomorrow at 10 o'clock our time, another important session. Okay, thank you all. Thank you all for being who you are, and thank you all for being such integral members of the Northern California section of the PGA. We'll wish you good luck in your pursuit of the board or pursuit of returning to the board. And of course, any questions, thanks to our staff, everyone here for what they do to keep us on the air and keep us in the right spot when we need to be there. Any questions or comments or thoughts, please don't be afraid to reach out and contact us. And in the meantime, please be safe. Continue to wear our face coverings where we need to, wash our hands, and get flu shots. And be well, everyone.
Great.
Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Bye.
Thank you.
Have a great day.